All right, I will call to order the regular meeting of the Common Council of the City of Platteville for Tuesday, April 25th, 2017, and we'll start with roll call.
Ken Killian,
Here.
Eileen Nichols,
Here.
Tom Knoll,
Here.
Catherine Westaby. Here. Barbara Doss,
Yep.
Don Francis has been excused, and Barbara Stockhausen.
Here. First item is consideration of the consent calendar. The following items may be approved on a single motion and vote due to their routine nature or previous discussion. Please indicate to the council president if you would prefer separate discussion and action. In our packet, council minutes from the April 11th, 2017 regular and April 18th, 17 organizational meeting. B is payment of bills. C is appointments to boards and commissions, and each council member this evening received a copy of the boards and commissions that they will be serving on. I tried to appoint you to the ones you expressed most interest in. Hopefully I was able to do that in most cases. The other appointments include to the Freudenreich Animal Care Trust Fund, Angie Donovan, to the Plan Commission, Joyce Boss, and we appointed an individual to the Library Board. Unfortunately, she has sent us an email saying she cannot serve at this time. So tonight I am appointing someone to replace her, and that would be James Swenson. Those are the appointments as far as boards, commissions, and committees. We do have openings for those of you who might be interested in serving on the Historic Preservation Commission and also on the Parks, Forestry, and Recreation Committee. So if you're interested in serving on any of those committees, you can go to our platteville.org website and you can find information on the committees, commissions, and boards, and also an application form. We appreciate your participation. D is licenses, 1 year and 2 year operator license to sell or serve alcohol. 2 is temporary Class B license to St. Augustine Church for an Irish Fest on April 28th. E is permits. The first one is a banner permit. UW Platteville for homecoming from October 1st through the 15th. 2 street closing permits, 1 for South Hickory Street from West Pine Street to Greenwood Avenue for St. Augustine's Irish Fest on Friday, April 28th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. And then 3rd Street from Minnow Street to Main Street for Derby Days on Saturday, May 6th. A request for a run permit, the Kiwanis Club to benefit Badger Camp on May 6th. And in our packet also is Resolution 1713, dissolving the Area Ambulance Committee. The ambulance service is now through Southwest Health. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, and we'll vote.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Westaby. Yes. Doss.
Yes.
Stockhausen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, citizens' comments, observations, and petitions, if any, and those of you who did want to speak, we do have a green sheet that's on the table back there. We would ask you to fill that out with your name and your topic. We have a couple of people that have asked to speak. Before we do that, I would like to share with the citizens of Platteville that the city of Platteville received an award last Thursday from the Wisconsin Rural Partners. We were recognized for a 2017 Top Rural Development Initiative. And I'm going to read to you what was read at that event. Moving Platteville Outdoors, David Canny Roundtree Branch Trail. The Moving Platteville Outdoors, MPO, David Canny Roundtree Branch Trail project is a remarkable community collaboration that was led by the Platteville Community Arboretum, Platteville Community Fund, Building Platteville, Inc., and the City of Platteville. It involved an estimated 1,500 community members. The initiative has inspired Platteville and can serve as a model for other communities. The RBT is a pedestrian and bicycle trail that stretches from UW Platteville to the Platteville-Belmont Trail, paralleling the Roundtree Branch Stream and Business Highway 151 for most of its 3-mile length. While the trail has existed in some form since the late 1990s, the trail surface was inconsistent and in poor condition. There were several infrastructure problems that impacted accessibility, and there were gaps in connectivity. The MPO project completed all trail connections, fixed the infrastructure problems, and paved and lighted the entire 3-mile corridor. The project not only built leadership and volunteerism in the community, but also provides safe, accessible travel to more than 30 businesses promotes physical activity, increases the value of nearby properties, and increases tourism opportunities. So this was a statewide competition, and we were recognized as having the top initiative. Standing up here, we have three of the individuals who attended that event on last Thursday. I was also there, and Angie Wright, who could not be with us this evening, was also there. Angie was a grant writer. I'm going to let these individuals introduce themselves, and if you'd like to say anything, please speak into the microphone. Who you're affiliated with would be nice.
My name's Gene Weber, and I was on the MPO steering committee. And we do want to make note that this is a community award, a wonderful response from our entire community. And we'd like to give a shout out to all the volunteers that are continuing to maintain the trail.
I'm Howard Crowfoot. I'm the Director of Public Works, and I worked with the MPO Trail Committee to make sure that we got this thing accomplished, and I'm getting the grant monies from the state for all that so that we get paid back.
Great.
Cindy Tang, and I worked with the fundraisers on MPO, and we raised the local funds and also helped write the grant to get the state funding.
And I should have mentioned the DNR grant that was also provided to the effort to actually pave the trail. And while we were at the award ceremony, we also received a nice letter of commendation from Tammy Baldwin's office. So I think that's also very nice to get that recognition. So congratulations, Platt. So we have two other individuals, as I said, that have asked to speak. One is Arlene Sis and Stone Cottage.
Arlene Sis, 130 North Hickory Street, Platteville. I'm here again. As you know, it's the Stone Cottage is what I'm always working on and trying to do, to let people know how important the Stone Cottage is. Well, we're going to have an event, a dinner this coming Tuesday. When I got to figure out now what day it is on this on the 23rd of this week at 4 o'clock. 4:30. I should say. Anyway, it's here. This will be downstairs, but we're studying where the Stone Cottage is built for a veteran of the American Revolutionary War. Reverend Samuel came out this way because he did not believe in slavery, and he made sure throughout the whole time he was living. And so the Stone Cottage is a wonderful place. You'd think you were not in this area because of the building is really looking like out east. It is absolutely gorgeous. I will pass this along so all of you can take a look, but and this will be downstairs so that you can look at it when you leave. So thank you so much. I would appreciate anything and everything that people would come to this wonderful event.
Thank you. Cindy Tang and Chris Geyer.
Saturday.
Say it again.
Hello, I'm Cindy Tang, and I'm with Chris Geyer. We worked along with the city on a free Wi-Fi project downtown, and this project took 7 years at least, from the conception and talking about it and Chris designing it to raising the money. Platteville Community Fund helped fund this project along with the Platteville Main Street program, which purchases of root beer, the local root beer that we sell. The Platteville Main Street root beer also helped fund this, and the city was our partner in citing different locations on city buildings. And so we started out with the free Wi-Fi is in City Park, and then Chris will talk about what's going on now.
We've extended onto Main Street here, and also to the back of the city building, towards Second Street as well.
So the State Main Street Program has recognized this as a public improvement, and we went up against all of the other Main Street communities in the state, and they recognized that this was a unique public-private partnership and gave us this honor.
Thank you. All right, that's the fun stuff. Now we get to the other stuff. In your packet, reports. Airport Commission, Dawes.
Nothing to report.
Community Safe Routes Committee, Francis is not able to be with us this evening. Historic Preservation Commission, Killian.
No addition to the minutes.
All right. Our first action item this evening is Resolution 1711, Conditional Use Permit Renewal, City Bar at 95 North Second Street.
Okay, it was about a year ago, the city bar received a conditional use permit approval to have an outdoor eating and drinking area. That was approved with several conditions. The most important one for this evening was that previous approval expired after 1 year. And that was done for a couple of reasons. One was it was still basically under construction at the time. So there was some uncertainty as far as what the final product was going to look like, so to speak, as far as the features on that site. And the other was to give a little time so the city could figure out if there were any issues that came up with the operation of that outdoor area during that year. So here we are a year later, so it's up for renewal. Initially, staff received one noise complaint that we were aware of at the very beginning regarding that outdoor area. The applicant, the owner at that time, had said, well, there's noise here, but it's not really coming from our property. It's kind of general area of Second Street. We were not aware of any other issues beyond that. We did receive, at the last meeting, a neighbor had said, well, that's not exactly the case, but that's what we were aware of. We also received some comments, complaints regarding the portable toilets that were on the property during the summer. Actually, they were placed on there sometime in early spring and didn't remove until in the fall. There was some concern because as that property is designed, it's very exposed, the outdoor area. It's got 3 street frontages. So from a visual standpoint, they were very noticeable. So there were concerns about that. Other than that, we hadn't really heard any issues regarding the operation of that outdoor eating and drinking area. This item did go to the Plan Commission for their consideration. The Plan Commission kind of took the approach that these types of issues should be addressed more in the ordinance rather than as part of this specific conditional use permit approval, because there are other properties that may have the same types of issues going forward. So they would prefer that we address section 2206J, which has a list of requirements for outdoor eating and drinking areas. They wanted to expand that list of regulations so that if other facilities, other taverns that already have an outdoor area that wanted to make some changes, that they would be subject to the same rules. So what they're going to be looking at, and they'll be talking about it at their next meeting, is requirements on the portable toilets, if they do have them, the maximum number they could have, the duration that they can be on the property. They have to be screened, some sanitary washing or other facilities be provided. Those types of things. We'll get into it, I guess, at the next meeting, but that's what they were looking at. So their approach was to approve this conditional use permit subject to any conditions or modifications to the ordinance that come within the next year to that chapter, that those changes would be applicable to this property as well. So based on that, they did recommend approval, and staff would recommend approval as well with that same condition. Any questions?
Well, it came up last time about the porta potties. Why does the owner want to have porta potties? When you think about porta potties as something for just a short-term special event, and not something for many months. That's
Well-
one part of it, and the other part is that this is Second Street. It is a historic street, and to have people view porta potties, I don't think that fits very well.
I would suggest the owner's agent is here in the audience if he wants to address that
You
question.
want to come
I
up to
think
the
he'd be better
microphone
at
and
that.
give your name and address, please?
My name is Jared Bauman. My address is 1065 Holman Street here in town. Basically, for the way the bar is built, it's a smaller bar. We have a single-use bathroom for both the men and the women inside, which serves the purpose for 90% of the year. But on weekends in the summertime, when it gets real busy, it's convenient to have porta potties out there for the customers to use. Being as there's only one facility inside and outside, and when the outside area is full of people, lines build up, and then we have a problem with people trying to leave there and maybe go to another bar or someplace else to try to use the bathroom, even though most of the bars on Second Street also have just a single-use bathroom for either sex. So we put them in the back towards the Oak Street side initially, and I was there for the other meeting that he was just referring to, that we don't have them there currently, but like I said, in the summertime when there's a lot of people outside, they are convenient. So we were kind of open to whatever they suggested as far as, we'd keep them on the Oak Street side if they were allowed, and have them, fenced off if that's what was recommended. But the reason that we put them out there is because on weekends in the summertime, you get lots of traffic through there, and it's just, there's just not enough space inside the bar to have a bigger bathroom to accommodate all those people in the summertime.
I was told that you have porta potties at the annex. Are those year-round?
Typically, they are there
the
year-round because they are fenced in. I know people from the Roundtree use them when they're walking and stuff as well, but I'm not, I don't have all the information on those or why those are there all the time. John has not told me what the agreement or anything is with them, so I know they're there, but I don't know the reasoning behind it or why that is okay or not okay or anything along those lines.
But my question is, are they kept there year-round?
Yes, because they're built into a structure that you can't pull them out of easily. They're fenced in on 3 sides with an opening in the middle.
Do you foresee that same thing happening here on Second Street?
I
They'll be fenced in and they'll be kept year-round.
foresee us doing whatever you guys recommend for the Second Street area. I mean, that fence was built before I ever, or around those porta potties before I ever worked for John. But obviously, depending on the recommendation, I can build a fence that works for whatever is allowed by the committee. I could build something that had a swinging gate so you could open it up and, get them slid out of there in the winter time or whatever was necessary.
Thank you.
Well,
Yep.
I respectfully disagree, Joe, that the reason we issued a one-year permit was because it wasn't quite done yet. I actually think that I made the motion to issue the one-year permit, and one of the reasons I thought that we should have an annual review of this is because it's a new type establishment in Platteville. And with what I've heard relative to the porta potties, with what I've heard relative to people calling me about noise complaints and asking me to see that there can't be any noise outside after 9 o'clock, I cannot support approval of an ongoing conditional use permit that is not subject to annual review. I believe that this is a new enough type business, that there's been enough issues during this year that this permit should be issued only as an annual permit, and we should see this again next year to see if in fact there have been improvements in those issues that people have raised.
One, the bathrooms. I know you say that there's going to be something at the Plan Commission. That can take another 4 or 5 months. The summer is over. I'm just not comfortable that that's even going to happen or happen in a timely manner. And like I said, I've had a number of people contact me to talk about the noise and the fact that even though it's not music, it's people outside, and as the evening goes on, the level of noise increases beyond that ability to go to sleep in Jenner Tower and surrounding properties. So I would not favor the issuance of a conditional use permit that is not subject to annual review. And so perhaps that's my opinion.
I take a look at this as a situation where we want to promote business downtown. We want to have the local bar owners be able to fulfill their needs of supplying entertainment for adults. I have a great concern about the porta potties being there continually for 4 to 5 or 6 months at a time. I just don't agree with that. I just think they're porta potties, they should be moved out. I understand that there are porta potties at the other establishment the owner owns, but that is a area that is what I would call partially secluded. It's off the highway, and when they have a get-together at that local outside establishment, it does not cause the noise concern that I think that it does downtown. If I was going to agree with the issuance of the conditional use permit, I would like it to be without the porta potties at this time until we have a new ordinance in place that would establish what can be done. Because I just think if we allow this to go on, it could be 4 or 5 months, as Barb said. Could take as little as a month, but we would have situations where other people could decide to do the same thing. And if we state that we'd issue it upon the condition of it applying only at the time that the ordinance goes into effect, in other words, we would retrofit it, I just feel that it's probably better without the porta potties.
Other comments? Questions? So what I'm hearing people say is that the porta potties are a concern and that there have been noise complaints. And at least one council member feels there should be a yearly review of the conditional use permit. I also have concerns about the porta potties. I also received comments while they were on the property that people were asking why they were still there. They were not, they were clearly visible no matter which street you were on. And I again was approached by someone just this evening who did not have a complaint necessarily about the music. It was loud, but during the week at least, the music has to close down. I think it's by 10:30, is that right, Joe? I can't remember for sure. But that, just the fact that the bar time is what, 2 or 3, and people can be out in the outside area that whole time, and it got louder and louder as the night went on. And her comment was that she had not experienced that before. This particular area was an outdoor dining and eating, or dining and drinking area. And she lives very close to the downtown. So I would echo those concerns that Barb also expressed about the noise level. And again, it's understandable in some ways. If you're outside, the noise is going to be more noticeable than if you're in a building, so. But given all that, I think obviously the owner would appreciate some direction as far as the porta potties, as far as anything else that might be included.
I have a question. The property is up for sale. Has it been sold?
Okay, I'm sorry. Just, again, I apologize, but we record the meetings and so just for our purposes.
Yes, currently somebody, do not know the name of the person, purchased it under land contract.
Okay.
I make a motion that we issue a conditional use permit for 1 year, subject to review next year, and that that until specific standards are adopted in 2206 parent J, that porta potties be allowed on the property only for special events and not to exceed 3 days in a row. That would be a weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you had an event, you could have a porta potty, but then it would have to be taken away until an event. So events not to exceed 3 days in a row and not to be consecutive. So that means you can't have a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event followed by a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday event, followed by a Thursday, Friday, Saturday event, followed by, so it's not consecutive. I just think there's far too many questions about this. Finally, I would like to add to that motion that I don't think I can add that to the motion, that everything has to go inside by midnight, but I'd like to see everything go inside by midnight. But I don't think I can, I don't think it's possible, because it would be, I know last year that, I'm very cautious about this property, because in the motion that was passed last year, it very clearly said that there would be a wrought iron style enclosure fence, and then very clearly stated that the tables, trash containers, and other exterior furniture would be of a similar style to the enclosure fence. And that did not happen. If you go there, you will note that there is not wrought iron tables, that there is no similarity in style. So I am very cautious about the approvals for this property. So a 1 year conditional use permit with the maximum time, 3 days for event porta potties to be removed, and then not consecutive day events.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Any other discussion?
I think also the Plan Commission needs to take a look at the noise problem, because the noise problem not only exists there at Second Street, it also exists at 151, the annex. I live close to that area. There are people in the neighborhood that complain about the noise, and it's sort of like Jenner Towers. You don't hear the noise if you're inside your house and your house is well insulated and you have the air conditioning on. But if you want to sit outside and hear all this noise going on certain nights of the week, it's not good. So the noise factor is a problem also on 151.
So you would like the Plan Commission to take a look at that?
Right.
Okay.
What it means, shutting down earlier in the evening instead of 11:30 at night on Friday and Saturday, maybe earlier. They should take a look at it.
Any other comments on the motion? All right, seeing none, Jan, we'll vote.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Westerby. Yes. Doss,
Yes.
Stockhausen,
Okay, yes.
motion carries.
All right, the next one, Resolution 1712, authorizing execution of the DNR Principal Forgiven Financial Assistance Agreement.
Thank you. The city has been awarded a principal forgiveness loan, which for most people would call it a grant, from the DNR for up to $310,000 for replacement of lead water service lines. We need an authorizing resolution so that it identifies who's authorized to sign the paperwork, and so that's what this is. We have a slightly modified resolution from the one last time. The only thing that's been added is in the first paragraph. It says replace private lead service lines at residences and licensed daycare centers. That phrase is the only thing that's been added since what you had last time. That was at the request of the DNR. So I would recommend that the council approve the resolution as amended.
And the resolution is on your desk.
It should
white
be
sheet of
with a
paper
red
with
line.
the red line at residences and licensed daycare centers underlined. That would be the change. We've discussed this a couple of times. Does anybody else have questions tonight? Is there a motion?
I move to approve the resolution number 1712 as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Full vote?
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby. Yes. Doss. Stockhausen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is contract 617 for weed and grass mowing.
Yes, this is our annual contract for mowing to enforce our tall grass ordinance. And there are two parts. First is for mowing large areas, generally vacant parcels of an acre or more. The second is for our normal residential type lawns. The low bidder is Southwest Lawn Care, $92 per hour, or $75 minimum for either portion, the large or the regular residential areas. We also place a $40 administration fee on top of the fees, the service by the contractor. So staff recommends that you award to Southwest Lawn Care at their bid prices.
I have a question. Excuse me. You say in here, fourth line, if the owner does not mow the lawn, this contractor will be asked to mow the lawn so the lawn is no more than 6 inches high. Do you mean, are you referring to the large areas to be mowed no more than 6 inches?
That is, the 6 inches is the maximum standard that the contractor is required to mow the lawns, whether it's the large areas or the residential tracts. By the time we get a complaint, we review the complaint, identify it, make sure that it does in fact violate the ordinance of 8 inches, and the owner fails to mow it within the time frame, and then we send the contractor out. It's well over 8 inches by that time. So mowing it to at least, at most 6 inches high is their standard. Generally, they will mow it to a regular residential standard of 3 to 4 inches. But in our contract, we're saying that we have a maximum height standard.
That's what I was getting at. I thought a lawn would be mowed at, say, 3 inches, and the large tracts mowed at the maximum 6 inches, but you don't follow that. Because if they're a lawn, if it's gonna be at 6 inches and then 2 more inches, you're up.
Yeah.
Gonna be exceeding the limit again.
I understand, but we're also looking at the limits of the equipment that they're using and everything else. As I said before, in general practice, most of the contractors that we've used in the past, including Southwest Lawn Care, normally cut the lawns to the 3 to 4 inch level as a matter of course. The 6 inches is what our contract specifies.
And this is all complaint basis.
Correct.
Any other questions? Is there a
I'm-
motion?
I make a motion, we approve, contract 717, oh, pardon me, wrong contract. Contract 617, weed and grass mowing.
I'll second.
I have a motion to award contract 617, and we have a second. We'll vote.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Stockhausen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next is contract 717, sidewalk repair.
Yes. This is our annual sidewalk repair contract. We do two different portions of this. One is to grind trip hazards on the city sidewalks, and the other is to replace entire squares of sidewalk. Council approved a budget of $10,000 for the entire project. Low bidder for the replacement of sidewalks is Lowinger Brothers, and low bidder for grinding is Safe Step LLC. The total for both bids would be $12,228.70, more than the budget. However, staff, I believe that we will have savings in other Fund 110 items that would cover that small overage. So I recommend awarding the contract to Lowinger Brothers and Safe Step with the overage to be absorbed within the budget.
Questions, anyone?
I make a motion, we award contract 717 as proposed by staff.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. We'll vote.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Stockhausen.
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Next item is the outdoor fitness center.
Yes, I believe this will be mostly a housekeeping item for you. The last two council meetings rather, we've discussed an outdoor fitness center to be placed just south of the dog park. Within my staff report, though, I did include the verbiage that the final design would be brought back to you at a later date, hopefully when the majority of the funding was completed. I guess I'm happy to announce that later date is today. Not really a whole lot of changes from the previous design, but as you can see on here, this is basically the design you saw last time, a little bit bigger this time. Other than that, the changes that they are proposing, or the more details they are proposing to place a water fountain into the fitness center area and also have it lit. So the lighting would be tied into the Roundtree Branch Trail lights, would go on with similar times as that. Finally, they're also asking that the stormwater permit fee be waived for this project since it is going on city property. They did commit to abiding by the rules of that regulation, but we're asking that the fee be waived by the council.
Questions, anyone? Comments?
I make a motion, we approve the final design of the outdoor fitness center, including waiving the fee for the stormwater permit.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. So we'll have an outdoor fitness park. We'll vote.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Knoll,
Yes.
Westerby,
Yes.
Doss,
Yes.
Stockhausen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, that's our action items. Now we go on to information and discussion, and Luke is going to
I'll
Goes
continue
on
with this
something
one.
else.
Yes, so we're discussing the Knollwood Park Lomo transition. This is something the Parks, Forestry, and Recreation Committee has been discussing for quite some time, not specific to Knollwood Park, but looking for ways to convert traditional turf grass into lower maintenance alternatives. One of the things that staff has recommended is possibly converting Knollwood Park into what I would describe, it's called a no-mow grass mix, but we are probably referring it more to as a low-mow grass mix. So it's a type of mix that can be left unmowed. However, we are recommending that it gets still mowed twice a year to maintain closer to a similar turf grass appearance. And the mowings are kind of timed also to reduce the amount of invasive species and weeds that do germinate or could compete with that grass. So that's another reason for those periodic mowings. One of the main reasons for this is to reduce our maintenance costs. We currently spend about 90 hours per year, which we estimate at about $2,000 for staff time and wear and tear on the mowers. When you're replacing a $30,000 mower, just reducing some of the hours that you're spending on that help extend its life, which makes up some of that savings. With this, we did send a letter to all the neighboring properties, the entire Knollwood subdivision, including all the cul-de-sacs, the Super 8, and the Platteville Chamber. This letter did go out. Now, I happen to live in that area. I received it in the middle of last week. Since that letter went out, I did receive one phone call. One person was just said he completely understood why the city was proposing it, looking at it, but just had some concerns about the way it would look. I did explain that, we had looked at other alternatives, which were prairie and savanna, or, we've had a former council member suggest just letting it go, and that we felt that this was the least change. So when you're talking about a limit of acceptable change, we thought this was the least change for that area. So that's the general basics.
And Luke, if we wanted to go take a look at this, the test plot,
Yes,
where is it?
we were going to ask that. And unfortunately, I'm not super familiar. It's a building that starts with a B. Some of the students might be able to help me out here. Do you know where your test plot is for the no-mow grass mix? Babel Hall. It's in front of that on the north side of that. I couldn't remember I knew it started with a B, but I didn't know the term. Good thing we had students here.
Can I ask a question?
So we could go take a look at that before the next meeting, if you so choose.
What are the two general times of mowing?
I believe one was around this time of the year, and I believe once was towards the end of the year in like November.
You're gonna,
This time of the
So it's
you're
spring
gonna
and
mow
fall.
after
Not the summer.
grass goes to seed?
The mowings usually you wouldn't do while you're germinating, but it was I could be wrong, but we did discuss this with the seed producer, but I believe he said it was early May and November is when he recommended doing the mowings.
What about just mowing the around the whole plot and just leave it so it looks manicured?
So you're talking about mowing a border
Border.
essentially,
Yes.
and not doing any other, just letting the rest go. Currently, that would violate the ordinance with the distance between buildings. So the general height would get too high. I think there's an option to explore changing that ordinance if you would desire, but that's currently the reason against that, I would say. The other reason is simply trailering a mower there does
yes.
take quite a bit of time. It's not just the time that they're on the mower there, because once you get a mower out there, it takes a couple hours, but just getting the mower loaded up and bringing it out there does take significant staff time, which we'd still have to do a couple times a year, but it would greatly reduce that.
You gonna do this with other parks or portions of park?
I think we would see how this went. I think there's a possibility that this technique, if successful, could be applied to other areas. One of the things we're looking for is we don't want to take away, areas that kids and adults and families are using as active play. We're looking at areas that aren't used as active play, and those are the areas that we initially considered. Knollwood was one of the obvious ones, but I do think if successful, this could be explored in portions of parks where it makes sense.
Luke, I'm assuming this low mow grass is a special grass mix?
It is, yes. So we've talked with several seed suppliers, and there's a number of, they all have their own special blend and their kind of trade secrets. But they're different types of grass, some that germinate right away to help you with erosion control, and others that, I don't know, I think ficus was one of the types they were throwing out often.
Did I miss this? Is Knollwood gonna be replanted then?
Yes, so Knollwood would be planted with this no mow or low mow grass mix.
Is this gonna be, it can be worked up or just interseeded?
It's a good question. So there's multiple options of how this process can take place. Most traditionally, you kill the existing grass, till, and plant. What they did on campus is they had a seeder that kind of injected the grass seeds in with the dead grass, so you didn't have to till. We would like to do that because it would save us on some of our erosion control measures and reduce the cost a little bit. And I think it'd just be, they had success doing that method on campus, and I think we would emulate that.
It's a little late to do that.
Little
The
late
season.
They're saying right about, I mean, we're getting into the planting season. They didn't want us to do it too early, but we are, it would be something we would look at doing in the spring of the year. You don't want it to do it in the middle of summer.
They used that at the dog park, didn't they? I think they did.
The
A volunteer.
planter,
The interceder?
Yes, a volunteer came in and used his own equipment.
they may have.
Other questions or comments? All right, thank you very much. Next item, adjournment.
I move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and second, and we'll vote.
Killian,
Record.
Killian,
Yes.
Nichols,
Yes.
Nall,
Yes.
Westerby. Yes. Doss.
Yes.
Stockhausen.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries.
This is